Hey friend, I am so excited that you're visiting Acadia National Park, and today I want to talk about the 10 things that I absolutely would not miss on your first visit to Acadia. Hey friend, my name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes, and I have spent a ton of time in Acadia just trying to hike every trail and get to all the points of interest. And this list is how I have narrowed things down to the 10 things that I absolutely would not miss as a first-time visitor. So I've done a lot and I've narrowed it down for you so that you don't have to try to get to everything. These are the things that if you can get to all of these, you will just have a phenomenal vacation. So let's jump in. Number 1, Cadillac Mountain. Cadillac Mountain consistently shows up as something that you should not miss on your trip to Acadia, and I 100% agree. This mountain is the highest point in Acadia at 1,530 feet above sea level. And so when you get up there, you just get 360-degree views of the park and of the ocean, the nearby surrounding communities. It is absolutely gorgeous up there. The other cool thing about Cadillac Mountain is that during certain times of year, it is the first place that the sun rises in the contiguous United States. And so sunrise at the top of Cadillac Mountain is a pretty big deal. If you're wanting an extra dose of adventure, then you can get up here for sunrise and see the sun hit the eastern seaboard of the United States. So it's really cool. It's absolutely beautiful. When you get up here, you can take a short trail around the summit. I highly recommend doing that. It's only about a half a mile and mostly flat, but that again will allow you to have those 360-degree views of the area. Now, you will want to be aware because as of this recording, you do need an extra reservation to get to the top of Cadillac Mountain by car. So if you're wanting to drive the road up to the top, which most people do, then you will need an extra reservation to do that during the main peak season of the park. So I have another video about that here on YouTube that you can check out if you want more help with that. But do be aware that that could be a requirement during your trip to Acadia. Here we have our map of Mount Desert Island, which is the main part of Acadia National Park. You can see Acadia National Park in green. And Cadillac Mountain is this road right here. This is what will take you to the summit. So you've got Bar Harbor over here. Cadillac Mountain Summit Road is really close to that. If reservations are required, then they will check them down here and they won't allow you to drive this road unless you have the right reservation. So be aware of that, but that is where it's at right there in the middle of the park. Number 2, the Bar Island Trail. So this one will add an extra dose of adventure to your trip to Acadia. This one is really fun, especially for families. But basically what it is during low tide, an hour and a half before low tide and an hour and a half after low tide, this gravel bar opens up when the water recedes and you can walk across this trail to get out to Bar Island. And so it's like a disappearing trail. It's so cool. So when the tide gets low, you can walk across here. You can go over to Bar Island and you can explore Bar Island for a minute before then coming back before the tide comes back in and covers up the trail with water. So it's really fun. It's a super cool trail. It's only about 1.6 miles round trip. It's mostly flat until you get to the island. If you want to explore around a little bit more, then you'll gain some elevation. But this is a really fantastic family-friendly trail that we like to add in for an extra dose of adventure. Okay, so let's take a look at a map. This one is a little bit trickier to get to just because it's not the main part of Acadia National Park. But you'll start in downtown Bar Harbor, and what you're looking for is Bridge Street, which is this little tiny street right there. This is Bar Island right here. And so you'll park in downtown Bar Harbor, or you'll take the shuttle to Bar Harbor, and then you'll take Bridge Street, which will then, if it's low tide, will then turn into a trail that you can walk out to get to Bar Island. So super cool. Number 3, the Carriage Roads. Acadia is a really unique national park in that the land that is protected as Acadia National Park was privately donated. And as part of that donation, John D. Rockefeller Jr. also donated the construction of Carriage Roads, which is just a motor-free way to experience Acadia National Park. So there's 45 miles of these carriage roads that go through the interior of the park to some just beautiful areas, really nice views, and you can have a nice quiet experience as you're on these carriage roads because cars are not allowed. So you can walk along these roads, you can bike, that's extremely popular. You can take horses on here, or you can sign up for a horse-drawn carriage ride if you don't have your own horses. That's my favorite way to see it because that was really how John D. Rockefeller Jr. envisioned people using these roads, is just riding along in their carriage and soaking in the views. So there's a few really cool ways to do this, but these carriage roads are definitely worth your time, even if you just step on them for a moment and really soak in the views as you experience the interior of Acadia National Park. My favorite thing about these carriage roads are all of the beautiful bridges that you'll see along the way. There's a cobblestone bridge that's really cool, but there's some really nice bridges and just historic structures along the way as well. So definitely get on the carriage roads in any way that you feel comfortable, biking, hiking, or on a horse. Okay, so on the main Acadia map, you'll see there's a whole bunch of yellow roads down in here, really situated around the Jordan Pond, Eagle Lake area. That's where most of these roads are accessible from. So those are the carriage roads. On the Acadia website, they also have a much better map that you can see right here that shows you where all these carriage roads go. And so you've got just like a ton of options for getting around and exploring the national park through the carriage roads. Number 4, the South Bubble Trail. The South Bubble Trail takes you to the Jordan Pond area of the park, which is one of the most beautiful areas of the park. I love visiting the Jordan Pond area. But the bubbles are very iconic mountains in the Jordan Pond area. You'll see them from the Jordan Pond House as you're in the area. They're very recognizable, and so it's really fun to hike to the top of one or both of these. But if you're looking for a slightly easier experience, if you're just wanting to get up there and get the view, then the South Bubble is what I recommend. The South Bubble Trail is only about a mile round trip and gains about 250 feet of elevation. So you get up there and you just have really nice views of Jordan Pond. The other thing that's cool about this trail is that you will pass by Bubble Rock as you're hiking to the summit of the South Bubble. And Bubble Rock is a giant granite boulder that was left behind by the many glaciers that came through this area and sculpted this area. So it's cool to see that. There's just a random giant boulder kind of perching on the edge of the cliff there, and that's Bubble Rock. So you can see both of these as you hike the South Bubble Trail. For the South Bubble Trail, I recommend parking at the Jordan Pond House and walking along Jordan Pond to get there, or there is a shuttle stop that you can get off to just start the trail, but the South Bubble is right here, and that trail just kind of zips on up there real fast and then overlooks all of Jordan Pond. This is a good time to mention that there are some stops in Acadia that are very busy, and it's really difficult to get parking in certain areas of this park. It is just one of the busiest parks in the United States. So if you need any help as you're trying to navigate through this park, if you're wanting to make sure that you get parking, that you can get there at a good time, that you're not just being surrounded by crowds all the time, then definitely pick up the Acadia itinerary from dirtandmyshoes.com. I will help you with all of that, but the South Bubble and some of these other areas are just really hard to navigate through. If you're there at the wrong time, you won't get parking. It can get really busy. So again, check out that itinerary if you want my help, things that I would do to navigate this park well. Number 5, the Ocean Path. So Acadia is an ocean national park. You're right on the ocean. So far we've kind of been talking about things that are more in the interior, but taking the Ocean Path really gives you a nice view of the ocean scenery that Acadia National Park is famous for. The Ocean Path is a 2-mile paved trail that takes you through some of the busiest parts of Acadia, some of the most popular stops you can find along this Ocean Path. And so if you're not wanting to move your car to each stop as you're driving the Park Loop Road, you can park once and then you can walk along the Ocean Path to get to several other destinations. So that's typically why I use it, but it's a really popular area, and so it's nice to kind of get out of your car and walk along the coast for a minute. I love all the pink granite that you'll see as you're doing this. It's just really nice ocean views with the iconic pink granite of Acadia National Park. So looking at the map, the Ocean Path starts here at Sand Beach and it goes out here to Otter Point. So this is the Park Loop Road and it's a one-way road, so you can drive the whole area, and the Ocean Path just kind of goes right alongside of it and takes you to these various points of interest. So places like Thunder Hole or Gorham Mountain or out to Otter Cliffs, any of that you can access via the Ocean Path instead of having to drive your vehicle to each separate stop. Number 6, the Beehive Trail. So this trail is Acadia's most famous trail. Basically what you're doing is you're starting at sea level and you're hiking up to the top of the Beehive. And in order to get to the top of the Beehive, you have to use what's known as ladder and rungs. Ladder and rung trails are really popular in Acadia, but basically you're holding on to these metal ladders, things that have been bolted into the cliffs to help you get to the top of the Beehive. It's really exciting. It's thrilling. It is kind of scary, especially if you're scared of heights, but totally worth the effort if you can get on this trail. The Beehive Trail is just shy of 2 miles round trip, and it gains about 450 feet of elevation. Again, as you're working your way up to the top of the Beehive, you're using these ladders, these metal handholds, basically to get yourself safely up there. It is not really great for someone who is really scared of heights. If you have a healthy fear of heights, you'll probably do okay. But if you're really scared of heights, it's probably one you'll want to avoid or take the back way to get to the top. If you need any help with this, again, I touch on this in the Dirt in My Shoes Acadia itinerary. But this trail is just one of those can't miss trails. You will absolutely love the adventure of it, and the views from the top are gorgeous. To hike the Beehive Trail, you will park your car here at Sand Beach, and then the Beehive Trail starts across the street and goes up this way. There are several intersecting trails in this area, and so I do recommend bringing a map for sure. It's pretty easy to get lost once you get to the top of the Beehive or as you're trying to really find the trail to get to the top. I just recommend in this park always carrying a map with you because there are a lot of intersecting trails. Number 7, Sand Beach. So Sand Beach is not only the trail for the Beehive, but there actually is a sandy beach here that you can play in. You can play in the sand, you can hang out and enjoy the view. And I recommend doing so for a couple of hours. It's really beautiful. The thing about Acadia is even though you are on the coast, you don't get a lot of sandy beaches in this area. A lot of the beaches are more cobblestone or big rocks, a lot of that pink granite again, rock shelves. And so a lot of the beaches that you will see are not sandy, which makes Sand Beach really unique. You can swim. They have changing rooms at the parking area. You can get in the water. It's a chilly 55 degrees most of the time. And so it does stay nice and cool, a good refreshing dip, if you will. But it's fun to play in the sand. It's also fun. I like to sit there and watch people hike up the Beehive. You can see them going up and they look like little ants. So it's just a fun, relaxing way to spend a few hours. Sand Beach is located along the Park Loop Road, which is this main road here. It's a one-way road, and so you'll get in here and you'll park. You can walk down to Sand Beach, which is down here. Again, the Beehive starts right across the street. You can also catch the Ocean Path right from here if you want to walk more to some of these other points of interest. So it's a really good area to get to, find parking, and just hang out for a little while. Number 8, Jordan Pond. Jordan Pond is another one of those areas of Acadia that you just need to see as a first-time visitor. You have the Jordan Pond House, which is this beautiful building that overlooks Jordan Pond. Jordan Pond has beautiful views of the bubbles and other surrounding mountains. There's a pathway that you can take around the pond that's a little over 3 miles that just is really relaxing and beautiful. You can eat popovers, which is the main thing to do here. This is why most people come to Jordan Pond. The popovers that you get at the restaurant here are an Acadia classic. You haven't been to Acadia unless you've tried a popover. And those are typically served warm with butter and jam. They're really delicious. So that's definitely an experience that you'll want as part of your time in Acadia. Jordan Pond is also a great place to come if you're hoping to explore the Carriage Roads. You can catch the Carriage Roads really easily from here. This is where I like to hike to one of my favorite bridges in the Carriage Road network. And so it's just a nice place to come and park and hang out for a little while, walking around, exploring, taking a bike ride, things like that. And then you can top it all off with a popover at the Jordan Pond House. Jordan Pond is located in the interior of Acadia, and so you'll find it right here. There's a couple different parking areas down here, and then you can take the path around if you want to do that. Again, all these yellow roads over here are the carriage roads, and so it's really easy to connect to those from the Jordan Pond area. Number 9, the Gorham Mountain Trail. I really love this trail. It's in one of the busiest parts of Acadia, and yet the trail just never seems that busy. What's really fun about it is you're hiking to the top of a peak that overlooks the ocean. It overlooks the Thunder Hole area. It's the Park Loop Road area that's so busy, but it's just a nice way to get out on the trail and to find some solitude. This trail is 1.8 miles round trip. It gains about 500 feet of elevation. You have gorgeous views from the top. But what I really enjoy about it actually is it has some ladder and rung sections that you can take that are much easier, especially if you have younger kids or if you're not sure you want to tackle the Beehive. This one is really good as like an intro to a ladder and rung trail that you will encounter in Acadia. And so we like to hike this trail and take the little side trail that's the ladder and rung section. The kids really enjoy it. It's really fun. And it just adds an extra dose of adventure to an otherwise very beautiful hike. So this one is a great way to spend your time if you're hanging out along the Park Loop Road area and you're just looking for a really nice hike that doesn't have too many people on it. So the top of Gorham Mountain is right here. You'll catch the trail down here kind of close to Thunder Hole. There's a parking area specifically for Gorham Mountain, but you can take the ocean path to get here. You can park near Thunder Hole to get here. There's a few different ways, and then you'll just pop on up to the top of this mountain and have views of everything out here. And number 10, the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse. Maine is famous for its lighthouses, and the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse is one of the most beautiful lighthouses in Maine. It also happens to be in Acadia National Park. So this is one that you'll want to get to, especially if you're really hoping to see the Maine lighthouses. The Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse has been in operation since 1858. It's right down there on those beautiful pink cliffs, and it just is so picturesque and beautiful. I love stopping here. So the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse is located on the quiet side of Acadia National Park, which is this area over here, kind of further away from Bar Harbor. So you come down to the bottom. It's all the way down here at the bottom of Mount Desert Island. This is where you'll find the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse. I do also mention this one as a can't miss because you will drive through the quieter side of Acadia, and I highly recommend making some stops as you do so. There's some really great things to do on this side, and people just don't come out here as much. It is much quieter, with the exception of the lighthouse itself, which stays very busy and very crowded. But there are some really nice things to do in this area. So again, if you can add in some more of those off the beaten path stops, this list of 10 will get you to the main things, but there are a lot of other really cool things that you can do en route to some of these areas to really break up your time so that you're not just in the crowds all the time. And if you need any help with that, click on over to Dirt in My Shoes and pick up the Acadia itinerary, because I do stick in a lot of the smaller stops that I really enjoy, just that aren't as busy, and that will help you feel like you're getting a more well-rounded and quiet experience in Acadia. So I do highly recommend that, but the drive out to Bass Harbor Head is beautiful. You'll definitely want to do that while you're here. Okay, there's the 10 things that you don't want to miss on your first visit to Acadia National Park. If you need any additional help planning your trip, be sure to check out dirtinmyshoes.com. I have a ton of articles there for you that will walk you through every step of the way. Or you can check out my other videos on YouTube. I do have some more videos for Acadia that will walk you through what you need to know before you go. So I am so excited for you to visit this phenomenal national park. It is absolutely beautiful. It is such a fun experience, and I hope that you have a great time.